Hello gamers, welcome back, or in case you are new here, I'm NKZL, and this is a video I didn't expect to make. And for sure, I did not expect to have an overall positive experience with Tarisland, especially when almost every video out there has a negative opinion of it. In my books, this is yet another example why I, and even you, should use videos like this one only as a frame of reference and form your own conclusions rather than take mine or anyone else's at face value. Before I talk about what you could expect from this game and what my impression so far is, I want to make one thing clear. I am not the target audience for this game. I, personally, no longer look forward or seek to play any Themepark MMO. As I grew older, I started to value a sandbox experience a lot more. On top of that, I prefer hyper-realistic graphics, the likes of Black Desert Online, so I think it's reasonable to say that this game was not made for the likes of me. Because of this, I do not see myself playing this game for months or years to come. However, I played it a couple of hours every day since its release, and I will continue to play it for as long as I am having fun, and so far, I am genuinely having fun. After my experience with the game, I want to clear another misconception about this game that I have seen thrown around quite a bit. Despite their extremely similar design, this is not a game that should replace a Themepark MMO like WoW, Final Fantasy XIV, or Lost Ark. And I even believe that the target audience is slightly different. The main reason for this is that overall, Tarisland is extremely casual. From gated content to time-locked content, everything in the game is designed to be completed in a few hours of play each day. While in other Themepark MMOs like WoW or Final Fantasy, you can reasonably spend an unhealthy amount of time each day and still have plenty of stuff to do. For some people, this will be a negative, while for others, this will be a massive positive, and that is exactly as it should be. As people grow older, they often have more important things to do than game all their time away. As a result, they are in need of games that either value their time or games they can play at their own pace. I heard quite a few people say, "I just don't have time for an MMO these days," and I feel those people are the target audience for this game. With all that out of the way, let's talk about what this game is and what it has to offer. Tarisland is a cross-platform Themepark MMORPG. It has a casual design and, as a result, content and everything in-game is designed in such a way to take around 1 or 2 hours a day to complete. Being cross-platform with mobile means that you can even play it on the go for the simpler tasks. Personally, I believe that the PC client offers a much better experience. From the controls to the ability to freely edit the user interface, everything feels better. The game has all the content that is expected from a theme park. It starts off with a story, which is acceptable. It's not as stellar as something like Final Fantasy XIV, but it is not a headless mess like WoW either. The voice acting sadly is mediocre, sometimes is quite good, while other times I find it lacking. That being said, it was nice to see almost everything voice acted. Following the story, we unlock different regions. All these open world regions will have various exploration elements, and there is quite a bit here. There are collectibles, vistas, side quests, world events, and even world bosses. Some of these will require consumables, like building a structure that will allow you to reach higher places, or collecting various items and turning them in for a key. Personally, I think they took the best bits of various exploration elements that you can often see in other games and condensed them into this casual format that does not feel overbearing. On top of this, the main zones will have a reputation system that is functionally tied to the game. For example, reaching level 4 reputation will allow you to auto-pet, while reaching level 10 will allow you to use flying mounts in that zone. Of course, there are other rewards, both functional and cosmetic. The game also has professions, 4 to be exact. and maybe because the low number of them, they are very nicely balanced. It's nothing extraordinary like New World or Black Desert, but it's there for those interested. Now that we set the stage, I think we should talk about the main content of the game, which is dungeons and raids. There are 3 main difficulties in the game: normal, elite and epic, with elite and epic difficulties having a challenge mode that adds 1 or more extra mechanics, and completing them will reward cosmetics such as titles and mounts. Dungeons require the cooperation of 5 people, while raids will require 10. I did not expect them to be as good as they are. The low-level ones are introductory, having only a few mechanics, and as you progress, more and more mechanics get added. The added challenge mode ended up being actually a bit of a challenge, especially in raids. For me and the people I played with, they did provide a sense of achievement. I will be biased here and say that I think the novelty will wear off after completing them a few times. But that is the case with every single dungeon and raid in every Themepark MMO, at least for me, and because of that I will not hold it against Tarisland. The endgame raids have not been unlocked yet, but by the looks of things there will be a total of 6 endgame raids to challenge, and they each seem to be unique enough. I believe they will offer a good experience based on what I have experienced so far. The other side of endgame content is PvP. The game has a few battlegrounds and arenas. They seem to be equalized, so the way you play will have the most value. At the end of the day, the game is a Themepark tap-targeting MMO, so personally, I see PvP content just as a side dish. As such, I appreciate the work that went into providing this content, and for the few times I tried it, it was acceptable. But if I want proper PvP, I will go and play a real PvP game and not a Themepark MMO. All this content will be experienced through the prism of your character. Currently, there are 9 classes to choose from. Sadly, 7 of them are gender-locked. However, following feedback from the community, the developers are working on removing the gender lock, and they already did that for 2 of the classes, with the rest of them being worked on and released probably in the future. Each class has its unique appearance, weapon, and each of them have 2 specializations that change the way they play. These specializations can be further customized with talents, seemingly each of them having 2 different paths to choose from. There is further customization in the form of stats you choose on gear, gems and inscriptions, but overall, I would say that each class has 4 ways to be played. Personally, I think it's quite good, especially for a new MMO, and the overall balance was exceptionally good, with no class being seen as bad or lesser, and each of them having the same potential, while at the same time being different enough to fit different preferences. Another element that I should touch on is monetization. The overwhelming consensus online seems to be that the game is pay to win because you can exchange real-life currency for cash-up currency, and that cash-up currency can be exchanged with other players for gold. You can spend that gold to purchase things crafted by others and speed up your progression, so it is true, you can pay to win. However, and this is a big however, at no point during the time I spend in the game has the game pushed me into spending money. All content so far has been doable without spending money, and I will go even further and say that it would have been a lot less enjoyable if I decided to spend money. On the other hand, the massive benefits of something like this is that even people that do not have a financial situation that allows them to spend can play the game and enjoy the very few things in the cash shop. The only thing that I believe requires real-life money is the Battle Pass, but the game does not have a box price, will not have an expansion cost, or a forced subscription. So, in all fairness, it is in no way worse than something like World of Warcraft, but in many ways a lot better when it comes to monetization, and honestly, even graphics and animations. I, however, have one big negative that I faced from the very first minute in the game. It's a tap targeting game. Sadly, unlike other tap targeting MMOs, they have not added the action camera option. For me, this was one of the big negatives of Tarisland, and I barely moved past it. I'm happy that I did, but I see this being something that turns away a lot of people that dislike the classic tap targeting mode. I hope that in the future they will fix this and provide an action camera for those like myself that prefer it. In conclusion, I think Tarisland is a decent game and will appeal to a certain casual audience. For their target audience, it will provide an excellent amount of variety and content, especially for a new MMO. I can only speculate on its future, but if they continue removing the gender lock, and if they end up adding one new region and a couple of raids every few months, I will be able to always recommend this game in the future. I cannot stress this enough, but this is not a game for everyone. It will be a game for those that want the Themepark MMO experience and simply cannot play the other Themepark MMOs because they do not have the required time. Anyway, that's it for this video. If you made it to the end, thanks for watching. Feel free to let me know if you see things differently, like, subscribe and all that jazz, or don't. See you in the next one, gamers.